Right, we'll give it a few minutes here for people to join. If you are watching this on the replay, just jump forward probably to about the 2-minute point in the video, and then that's when the content will start. All right, so I just wanted to do a quick live stream. I haven't been making that many videos lately, so I just wanted to do a quick update video and let everybody know I'm still here. I'm still keeping up on the stock market. I'm actually taking a class in operations management, so I've been doing a lot of not very fun things associated with operations management, so a lot of math and formulas and stuff that we all love to do. Of course, I'm joking. Nobody loves to do operations management. But anyways, it's good to take, continuing education classes. It's a great opportunity to learn new things, to expand as an individual, and to do things that you wouldn't normally otherwise do. That's one thing I think I wanted to talk about as well is the people, these days they're quick to basically put down going to a university, and I think there's pluses and minuses for both. You can learn a lot by going to a university, a lot about yourself on a personal level. You can make contacts. There's people in the business world that I met when I was in my undergraduate years many years ago that have helped me find jobs, we've worked together on projects. I've helped them out in investing related stuff. They've helped me out in technology related stuff that maybe was something I didn't understand. So having the opportunity to go to university, there's more than just the educational aspects there. It's a great place to network and build relationships and with individuals that you'll keep in touch with for years throughout your life. I think there are, one of the common arguments with, going to university is the extreme debt burden that a lot of people put on themselves. And, that's not always needed. There are universities that are super expensive out there, and there are ones that are more reasonable. There's also online opportunities, and, focusing on the debt aspect of going to university, there's ways around that. When I was an undergraduate, I worked at Home Depot, and they had a pretty generous tuition reimbursement program. And sure, I had to save up the money to initially pay, but when I got my grades and stuff, they would reimburse a lot of my money. And I escaped undergraduate with very little debt, actually no debt. And for my MBA, I worked at a rather large bank that had a generous tuition reimbursement program. And basically, throughout the whole MBA program, all I paid for was, my textbooks and a few small technology fees or something like that the universities tack on that work wouldn't pay for. So just by looking into careers or part-time jobs that have tuition reimbursement programs is a great way to either get all of your education paid for or a lot of your education paid for. I think I'll do a video, I'll do some research on rather large organizations that are common part-time employment places that have tuition reimbursement programs. I think people need to take advantage of those. It's a great service that these employers are offering in addition to just earning a paycheck. With that said, though, if you're going into a university and you're taking on a lot of debt, you should look into ways you can help reduce the cost. Either go to a cheaper university, look into ways. Can you work on campus where they'll subsidize some of the educational cost? There's always that, people say join the military, and you can get some of your education or all of your education paid for. That's an option. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat. You don't have to go to university far away where you're gonna have to pay dorming costs. Go to one where you can still live at home if your parents will let you live at home. That's the time to not add to your debt if you can help it. It's time to minimize your expenses and have as little debt as possible. So when you get out of university and you get that decent paying job that's probably more than you've ever made in the past, so you can start on good footing. You're not having to pay student loans and things like that. You can start saving money, investing money, saving for a down payment on a house, things like that. So that's just one of the things I think that people need to look into, and don't immediately write off university just because of the costs or because you potentially will have to go in debt. All right, another thing I wanted to talk about is the stock market. There were 2 days last week. I think it was Wednesday. The stock market was down. The Dow was down 800. I think it was 850 some points, and then the following day, it was down 400 some points. Those are two huge drops, and I think based on the Facebook groups and the YouTube comments that I follow, there was a lot of people scared and wanting to bail out of the market. And I think that's the wrong attitude to take. If you're investing in solid companies, bailing out, you and I, we don't know what the market's going to do in the next week or the next month. There's indicators that we can follow that'll give us an idea, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be foolproof, and there's no reason to dump your whole portfolio into cash unless you're, looking to make a purchase in the relatively near future, for example, down payment on a house or something like that. There's no reason to bail on the market just because of 2 bad days. We will likely probably have some type of correction in the near future, not necessarily the near future, potentially in the near future, or potentially within the next year or two. But corrections are good. Those are times to buy. Some of you that haven't been investing that long, you won't remember 2008. I was invested in some bank stocks before the crash, and some of those stocks I rode down fairly long, and I was actually buying more of them. And those were some of my biggest gains investment-wise over my investing career. So, a downturn isn't something to be scared of. If you have some money on the sidelines, if you have good companies that you are interested in, they're on sale, that's the time to add to your portfolio, and that's some of the biggest gains you'll make. But I do love the YouTube channels that try to capitalize on the panic and what everybody's searching on. I want as many views as the next person, as many subscribers as the next person, but I'm not going to create chaos and spread fear and do the other nonsense things like some of these channels do. I don't need to get ad revenue and make money off my channel. I do this because I enjoy it, and I'm not going to try to spread fear and make people panic because of the markets going down or going up or anything like that. I mean, let's be realistic here. You should be doing this to help your subscribers and be there as a sounding board and as a voice of reason for your subscribers. You shouldn't be going there to spread panic and fear. All right, I think another topic or another question I get a lot is, what type of books are you reading? I don't always do videos on the books I'm reading, so probably I'll cover some in the live streams in the future here. So the first one that I've been reading is Retire Early with Real Estate. The author is Chad Carson. It's a really good book. I'm not a real estate investor yet. I don't own any rental properties, but this was a real good book. And one thing I like that it covered is debt-free real estate investing. That's one of the many topics in here. So, a lot of people say, go real estate debt's good, which it's debatable. It can be good. It can be bad. It's definitely it's a double-edged sword, right? It can magnify your returns, but it also can magnify your losses and add a little bit of risk. So that's one thing. I watch Dave Ramsey, and I don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey says, but one thing I do know that is, when I get into real estate, I'm going to do it debt-free. And I view real estate more as a place to hold your money, and I'm not looking for stellar returns there in real estate, as long as it can beat inflation and it's relatively safe. I like having that where it's something that you can see and touch versus stocks are kind of it's all virtual. Yeah, there's real companies behind them, but there's nothing really to see and touch there. So definitely when I get into real estate, I'm going to do it debt free, and that's why I'm reading books on real estate. But definitely a good book. I recommend it. It's a little bit more mindset and high level processes on what to do. It doesn't get into the real estate numbers and things like that. I actually have another book that I'm reading that covers that, which it is important, but I think this book it covered some things that were lacking in a few other real estate books I read. All right, so the next book that I'm only about halfway through this one, but I like it so far. It's called I Love Capitalism, and you can see the author there. So Ken was one of the founders of Home Depot, actually, and I got to know about him pretty closely when I worked at Home Depot. But this book is more of a kind of I don't want to say autobiography, but it tells his life story. It goes into personal stuff, business stuff. It's pretty good. I pick it up and I'll read 10 pages here and there, and then I'll put it down for a while. But it's a good book overall. I like it. This is the book I'm trying to focus on reading. So The Most Important Thing, Illuminated, by Howard Marks. So this is a great book too. I'm about a quarter of the way into it. I've read this actually on my Kindle before, and I do that all the time. I'll buy books on Kindle because it's that instant pay for it, download it right away, and I like the book so much. I bought a hard copy. I have a personal library. You can kind of see part of it back there. I got another bookcase upstairs and a few totes full of books too. The wife's always yelling at me for having too many books, but that's a good book too. It's not really a how-to invest. It's very mindset driven and talks about the important aspects of an investing. Howard Marks actually came out with a new book that's about market cycles, and it's a whole book on market cycles. And I read the foreword of it. I ordered it off Amazon and I received it, but I didn't start reading it because I'm partway through other books. But basically, he says the market cycle aspect is one of the most important things in his mind. So it's definitely something I want to look into. All right, so I think that's about it for tonight. Oh, we got a question here. Let's see what it says here. That went away too fast. I don't think it's an investing question, but yeah, thanks for asking a question. Feel free to, if you have any investing questions, feel free to post those. I'll probably skip most non-investing or personal development related questions. Oh, you know what? One other question I get a lot that I think is something we can address here is, you know, how important is keeping up on the investing news? For example, TV shows, Yahoo Finance, Wall Street Journal, things like that. It can help. I mean, it can generate some ideas. I think you have to view it with a critical lens, especially a lot of these magazine articles and things like that. Oftentimes they're written by somebody with a journalism degree that really doesn't have any professional investing or financial training. So that's one thing, is you can't take, you know, these author's word for what they say, right? You got to take the information, digest it, analyze it with, you know, your own knowledge of investing, and say, you know, is this something that I should look more into? And then you should go find other sources that are talking about, say they're talking about dividend investing. You should go find 5 other sources on dividend, whatever topic of dividend investing they're talking about, and look at those and say, you know what, can I substantiate that with my own knowledge or with other sources that are going to prove this or disprove this for me? Never take anybody, including my own word, for any investing type topics. You know, do more than ample due diligence and read things over. All right, I think I'll stop it there for today. You know, this was my first live stream, so hopefully you guys felt that it's useful. I may do a few more of these in the future. I'll try to do at least one a week. So if you like it, let me know. If there's anything I can improve, you know, let me know that as well. I know one thing that's pretty bad is the lighting in here. I have right above me over here, I have a light, but when I turn that on, it like blows out the camera and makes it hard for you guys to see. It blasts the light off my bald head and things like that. So I try to keep just the light on in the background, and there's a window over here. If it was daytime, you know, the natural light's probably best, but this is probably the best I can do. I might try to get a light in front of me here that would project some soft light, and I'll try to get a microphone eventually so you guys can hear me better. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions for the next live stream and you couldn't make this one live, post in the comments below this video, and I'll make sure to cover those at the start of the next live stream. All right, thanks guys, take care.